What up? This is Chip from the Real Dirt Podcast. Man, today we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects of all time. That is solventless extracts. That's right, water-based extracts. Today I'm talking with my good buddy Chris from Souly Solventless out of Denver. And man, he's been really like pushing the bounds of extraction, water extraction, rosin extraction in the Colorado area. So if you're around Denver or coming to Denver, definitely check it all out, man. Hey guys, and if you haven't joined already, please join us at therealdirtpodcast.com. Subscribe on iTunes. And hey man, check out our new YouTube channel. You know, we're just working on it, but should be all of our episodes loaded up there real soon. And I believe that is the Real Dirt Podcast on YouTube. So thanks again for joining us today. And as always, sit back and fire the largest joint you can and enjoy this episode of The Real Dirt. And this is Chip from The Real Dirt. Good morning. Hello, one and all. Another episode of the Real Dirt Podcast. This is 2021, and today we're going to talk about extracts, concentrates, how they're kind of made, and what they are. The first time I ever heard of a concentrate, of course, it was called hash, and we didn't quite know what it was. And this guy, Kevin Price, I believe he was like, hey, I got some hash, you know, and we looked at it and we were like, man, this looks like rabbit shit. Are you sure this is hash? And to this day, I'm pretty sure he sold me rabbit shit as hash, and we didn't know any better, so we smoked it. But it's come a long ways. And as soon as I got real extract, which was Jamaican hash oil back in way long time ago, I realized the potential of extracting the trichome and extracting the molecule from cannabis, and have really been fascinated with it since then in all its forms, from traditional hand-rolled hash to sheaved and pressed hash, to bubble hash, to subcritical CO2, butane, propane, solventless. Like I'm really fascinated and interested in it all. And today we have Chris from Souly Solventless. Chris, a good friend of mine. Say hey, Chris.
How you guys doing out there? Thanks for having me, Chip.
You know, Chris is an unsung hero. He has some of the finest extracts on the market. They're boutique and rare to find. And if you ever see them, absolutely scoop them up. They may be a little bit more expensive than the one sitting next to it, but you know what? It is absolutely worth it. Isn't it, Chris?
I appreciate all of those nice words there, Chip. Yeah, man, just paying attention to detail, man, and, you know, really having a love and an appreciation for this plant and all its power that it entails, you know. So, you know, we're small batch, but, you know, we're just starting out. If you do happen to catch us on the shelf, like Chip is saying, yeah, man, you definitely got to give us a shot. You won't be disappointed. We like to take our time. Like I said, that attention to detail is important when it comes to solventless extracts. There's a few things you definitely have to pay attention to as far as the input or the material you're using to get that output that we all desire, or what, you know, the customers are desiring these days. One
of the biggest things about extract is quality material in gets exceptional quality out. And many people just use the trash, you know, to make it. And you can absolutely do that. But to make the best gear possible, you use the best buds possible.
That's right, my friend. Yeah, a lot of credit goes to the actual, you know, the cultivators first. The flower has to be top notch. The flower's banging in its own point, and usually, you know, the hash on the other end comes out what you would like. As far as, like, you know, quality, numbers, you know, that can all vary from a few different things, different genetics going to yield different numbers in those areas. You know, it's all interesting. It's all, you know, experimental. It's just great to learn, you know, every day, you know, whether it's something that really throws down a lot of hash, you know, and it's in the family of the GMOs or the cakes or something like that, or something that doesn't really throw down as much. It's more, you know, on the terp side. I mean, that's all important. You know, it depends on what you're looking for.
What are you starting off the day with, man? You smoke weed at the beginning of the day? Are you one of those people?
I mean, probably like 3 or 4 times at the beginning of the day, like different
3 or 4 times at the beginning.
I mean, what did I have this morning? I had a little bit of the some live rosin made by myself. It was some I call it the gumbo mix, or my term for
that's
mix.
right, because Chris is from Louisiana.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
He's also our resident go-to of anything Southern cooking food as well. He holds the gumbo and shrimp and grits title at Cultivate Colorado currently. Right. Nobody compares.
Yeah. Right? I take that pretty proudly. Anybody want to step up, go ahead on. I'll take it, but.
Oh man, when you made shrimp and grits down here in OKC, my crew here never had it. And literally the other day they were like, man, that time you guys made shrimp and grits. He actually said, Chip, you made shrimp and grits? Right. I didn't take credit.
I mean, it was a team effort, man. Come on.
We watched you do it.
Man.
Extract and hash is just like cooking. You can be a cook or you can be a chef. 100%. Right. You got all the right ingredients. You got all your temperatures together. You prepare everything properly. You prep everything properly. Then, wow, you got something then. Right.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Like, a lot of people, may not go along with the mixed material washes, but I particularly like those because, as you were saying, I like cooking and flavor profiles and things like that. Whenever you take two different, hashes and mix those together, you never know what you're going to get, man. Like, you can be in a mood this day, take a hit of the same hash, that you hit 2 days ago and get different flavor profiles because you might be in a different mood or something, It just really depends. Like today, a mix of Tropicana banana and monkey berries. And I really like that.
Some days
that's my gumbo mix for this morning. Tropicana banana and the monkey berries. Did pretty well. Those did 4% together. So not bad numbers.
So you're mixing these flavors in the bag?
Yes, I like to actually mix material together and wash it together in the bag. You can do it separate if you like, and then mix the resin at the end and press it like that if you want. That's a preference thing, man. Everybody got their own way they do it. Yeah, the way I like to do it, So, and it works out well for me. I don't have any issues with it. Taste fire. Love the taste.
So we've been babbling a little bit here. I realize there's a lot of people that listen to these podcasts or will see this podcast that don't really understand what hash or extract or rosin or resin or solventless or bubble or CO2 or any of this stuff is. Man, let me get your opinion of it. Let's start at the beginning. Let's have like a 101 basic extract course from Chris.
I would tell you this. I honestly, definitely knowledgeable in the extracts, but as far as an extract connoisseur or someone who is going to go to a store and buy an extract over flour, that was not me 3 or 4 years ago. I would say the hydrocarbon extractions or CO2, whatever you want to call it, those extractions, we're not really that interested in them as far as like dabbing them, but definitely using them for edibles, things like that, which they would come out really well in edibles. So, never really, downplayed it or anything like that. But starting
let me pause you right there and ask you, sure. and let's make some explain to people what's going on.
Sure.
So most of the extract you see on the shelf at a dispensary, say in Colorado or California, it's mostly some sort of wax or goo or oil or shatter. And most of that is made with butane or propane, some type of hydrocarbon mixture.
Right.
They're literally just combining all of the plant material. They're mixing it with the hydrocarbon, and then they're separating out the plant material, the hydrocarbon. They're recollecting the solvent, the hydrocarbon.
Yep.
And what's left is the extract.
Correct.
Right. And that's what mostly is on the shelf. So when you have a pen, what's in most pens, Chris?
You get a mix of a few things these days. I've seen, you get your distillate pens mixed with terps, I would say. You get your sauce pens. I've seen, lately you're starting to see some live rosin pens, kind of new on the market, but mostly I would say distillate and terps, I would say, which, distillate would be, just your pure THC, no flavor profile, and then being able to take different terp profiles and then add that to the distillate.
It was some sort of solvent. Those
correct.
Are all mostly solvent.
Those right? Yes, correct.
Right,
yes,
right. But you mentioned rosin. Tell me what the difference is between solventless and the non-solventless.
Oh, well, as you mentioned earlier with the actual process of collecting the trichomes using hydrocarbon with a non-solvent extraction or a solventless extraction, as you want to call it, you're actually going to be using water as the solvent or as the carrier or the lubricant, whatever you want to call it, but like super cold water. So you want to use a combination of ice and water to actually collect those trichomes opposed to the hydrocarbon. So a healthier way or a healthier method, I would say, as far as like approaching the extraction process. But, each process equally has benefits for whatever end product or whatever way you want to do with it. But if you're asking me, water and ice seems pretty safe and clean to me. So using that path to actually extract trichomes, solventless just, really stuck with me when that started coming around. I think Nick T probably is the guy to give respect to that, starting that term from what I understand, and he's been around for a minute, pushing out some great product. Just learning and discovering that really got me really interested in that. And these days you're starting to see it. There's starting to be rosin cartridges popping up, rosin and batter, live jam, sauce and diamonds even. Like people are starting to even make diamonds in solventless, which is crazy because that's like mechanical separation and things like that.
It costs more for a reason, though. You have to put more raw material. You have to take more care in the solventless extract than just a hydrocarbon extract.
The material 100% matters. You can do it from trim and things like that. Well taken care of trim will yield some great results, but it's ideal to actually use, your prized buds, and something that a cultivator or, cultivar that does really well, you gotta wash it. You gotta collect it, run it through the bags, then take it from the bags, goes to the freeze dryer. That's in there for 24 hours, comes out of the freeze dryer, then you have to sieve it. Then you have to, collect it again into your screen bags, and then now you have to press it. So, you press it, then you collect it, and then now it has to cure, whether you want to, heat cure it, cold cure, room temp cure, whatever it may be. There's all these different ways you can approach it. There's no wrong or right way, in my opinion. It's all great.
It's all technique.
Yeah, it's all technique and preference. Some people swear by full spectrum, or like some people swear that, oh no, it's got to be the 90-120 or only 90, and that's like, man, that's cool. That's great. That's your preference. You can like that, but like, it's all out there, man. It's everybody likes something a little bit different, and it's great that you have that options with rosin. You can do that.
Also, when you use different material, you get different results, and it's really hard on the commercial market to have this same exact material over and over and over and over again. And so that's the importance of like what we're talking about is you got to watch it, see what's going on, because what might collect, even one strain grown by one guy might collect differently than the same strain grown by someone else.
100%.
Right. And you've seen this over and over again. You're like, wow, man, those crystals are really small. Those crystals are really fat. Like this is nothing but glands. This is nothing but stalks, 100%.
Yeah, man. I've seen two different growers, two same exact strain, like almost 1.5% difference, which is crazy. Like that's a decent amount of difference, but still great outcomes on that particular strain. But yeah, you're right. Environment that it's actually grown in, maybe I'm starting to notice it has a play into that too, and maybe appearance of the actual rosin, whether it's going to be a little bit lighter, things like that, whether that person maybe pulled that product a little bit early, harvested a little bit early, things like that, things like, kind of go into it too. You kind of never really know. So like having a good relationship with your suppliers or where you're getting your material from really helps, and like consistently knowing that, you're dealing with these guys, it's going to be this every time. That it's going to put out, these guys grow it perfectly and boom, everyone does good.
Yeah. Well, it takes a different mentality. Well, slightly different mentality to grow for high quality extracts. I mean, many people grow for extract, but they're just literally trying to grow biomass. They're just trying to grow like weight. Man, the highest quality stuff, though, it comes from when you really take care, just like you would ganja, right? All the way to the end, and you finish it the same way. And, you dry it and store it and package it all the same way. Like, maybe, I mean, you don't have to trim it necessarily, right? But like, you definitely have to there's a little bit of processing going on.
Yeah, you definitely would like to prep it. I mean, you don't want to put any, leaves that doesn't have any sugar in there. You definitely don't want that in there, so you got to prep it a little bit. But definitely as far as like taking care of it and growing it with the utmost attention to detail, as far as like, I know you don't have to do your IPMs, but you have to minimize those things like that, that really like carries over into your end product, later in your flower cycle when you come up with an issue, that stuff matters, so you got to be on it from the beginning, man, and take care of the growing environment.
Many people are familiar with this term bubble hash or water hash, but let's talk about what this solventless, how it's different from just like a crude extract with water.
Yeah. So with bubble hash, in the cycle route to get rosin, you pretty much get bubble hash first. But like you said, most people are used to seeing, the bubble hash in the form of, looks like sand, I guess, almost keef rather. People familiar with the grinders, and you have the keef catchers. But like typically, whenever you're washing the material and collecting it in the bubble bags, before the whole freeze dryer thing, at this point, you take it out of the bubble bags, you got to pretty much dry it at the perfect condition to get it to not mold or anything, to be able to go from like, the bubble hash process like that we're all used to. That's a pretty intricate process too, to get that right, to get that correct. Right. For freeze dryers, like, I mean, I guarantee you I would have failed plenty of times. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I maybe tried it a few times when I first moved here from Louisiana, trying to do some bubble hash before rosin was even a thing, and, it came out well, but that whole drying process is tricky. And luckily out here it's dry.
To standardize,
so it was pretty, relatively easy. The learning curve was, easy out here just with that lack of humidity. But I don't know if that would happen in Louisiana. Probably end up with some moldy hash, man, a few times, I'm sure.
Yeah. You got to control your dry environment.
You got to control it. Yeah. But
now with freeze dryers, it's a different story.
Yes. Freeze dryer is definitely a different story.
You pull it out of the bag wet, press it out, water out a little bit, put it in the freeze dryer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And even with, still with freeze dryer, using freeze dryers, people don't tell you could press it in a rosin, but a lot of people keep it as melt too. You separate, use your bags and use that 90 bag, get some full melt. People really love that nice full melt these days. It seems like, different strains are going to give you different meltability of the heads, but like usually that 90 through 119 seems to be that one that people love for that good bubble hash melt. Super clean heads, barely any specks of anything in it, but it's got to be clean. That's got to be taken care of properly to get to that point. And using a freeze dryer.
Man, just freeze dried bubble can be incredible.
Oh yeah, the few times I've had it, it's been ridiculously good. You know?
But it's to get that high quality dabbable bubble at that point. It's really, really strain specific that you hardly get any yield, out of your batch when you do it that way. Right. Compared to kind of like what you're doing, and you're extracting as much quality material out of the leaf as you can with water. You're taking it, freeze drying it, right? And then what happens?
Well, from that point, once it comes from the freeze dryer, we take it and we put it between these nice plates by these low temp plates. I like to use those plates, but they're great. Heated plates, low temp, heat and pressure. The bubble hash goes into filter bag, and then between the two plates, and that presses out the rosin. So you go from the bubble hash, and then those two plates creates almost like like an environment of where pretty much that protective layer on the resin heads, or that the bubble hash bursts from the heat and the pressure, and it oozes out all that good oil, rosin, and then you collect it into your jar or into your banger or whatever. I'm seeing people do some crazy stuff on Instagram. But
so basically
it goes to a jar. Right?
We're using water.
Yeah.
And then we're freeze drying it. And then we're using a press with some heat on it.
That's right.
Right. And this is all just water and heat. Right.
Natural, man. That's it. Water, heat, little bit of pressure, and boom, you got some rosin. You got some beautiful extract that you can then take from that state and cure it how you'd like, or you can keep it in the fresh press state, take it into cartridges, take it into edibles, which, oh man, makes some beautiful edibles. Taste so good. I love that, some people complain about that weed taste or whatever. I like a nice rosin taste in an edible, in my opinion. It tastes good.
Me too. So. Yeah, I prefer all the edibles with more basic extracts. Sure. Keef, water, rosin.
Oh yeah,
right. I prefer those as extracts for sure. Hey, all of you edible companies out there, man, don't just use distillate. Make some with keef. Make some with rosin.
Yeah, try it out.
Some bubble. Yeah, it's so much better.
Yeah, your clientele will love it too. I'm sure they'll start learning. When to experiment with different inputs. Is the education of all this stuff will definitely keep growing with more states becoming legal here. As we keep seeing almost weekly, it seems like I see another state is passing some, medical cannabis or recreational laws, which is great, man. So people,
Hawaii today, yesterday, Alabama, Tennessee, like people in Texas, New York, New Jersey, like it's going everywhere.
Right. It's happening, man. It's happening. And that's great. That people are going to want to learn about it. They want, different stuff. Yeah. I mean, that's how it is, man.
The thing about private market cannabis and that industry is we always tried to squeeze as many dollars, as many cents out of a square foot or out of a plant as possible, because, it was gray market or it was totally illegal. And now that we have these legal markets, it allows us to do research and experiment with cannabis on a different scale. Yeah. And, even though like solventless, might be twice as much on the shelf. It might be $65, $80 a gram on the shelf. The manufacturer still he's not really like making a ton of money at that price. It's literally, he's making less money that way than he would if he was doing butane or propane or CO2. Right. He's making less money that way than he would if he was actually probably selling the buds for flower too. Right. Like it really gives a solventless extract. It really defines to some degree a different segment of cannabis production. Right. Because it's not just like this, like the biggest bang for the buck, right? Get the most money out of the square foot. It's like, hey, I want to make this product and this is how we make it. And then the market bears the price.
100%. Yeah, it's definitely it's a special product that, like you're saying, there's multiple steps to it, man. So
complex. I mean, it should be worth $120 a gram. Honestly.
I was just out in California, and that's what it was.
Well, yeah, it's $120 a gram there, though, because all the taxes that go on.
Yeah, and that's what I was. Yeah, it was a tax.
Right. Right.
But yeah, it's I don't like to say it's not for everybody, but like if you want to get into it, man, it's definitely something that like it takes a little bit of diving into. There's a few steps to it, a few things that you definitely got to you got to pay attention to detail. Yeah. That's what this is, man.
Got to treat it more like a food or laboratory-like environment.
100%, 100%. And not to say I mean, that's what, other extraction techniques as well. Not to say that's not how you would treat it with that one, but like, just particularly with the solventless, man, like you said, you grow all your flower, you could take this flower and sell it as flower, or you want to take it and, throw it in this water with this ice, swish it around, and hopefully some trichomes come out. I mean, it sounds crazy. Crazy.
It does.
But, the research and, the groundwork that a lot of people have done, in the past few years, I would say have definitely like built that confidence. And I would say, definitely curious minds like me, for sure, because it was definitely tough for me to dive into it too. I remember thinking about this more than a few years back. I'm like, man, that's crazy. Just take the flower and throw it in there. And like really? Okay. But now you learn and you get educated and you're like, okay, now it all makes sense. Now, okay, cool. I'm definitely going to take my flower and throw it in there and do that, because this rosin thing, this tastes really good. Makes my edibles taste really good too. So,
sorry, I just had a break for a second.
You guys over at the store, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you got to have security up in the studio, man. All kinds of motherfuckers roll up here. I mean, Tupac learned it the most.
I know, dude. That's right. That's right. I just was watching a couple episodes on Hip Hop Evolution about that. Sad story, man. Sad story.
Sad story. Sad story. Yeah, greatness often is snuffed out too early, man. That's for sure. And I lost a couple friends this year, Danny Smallwood and Rob Cox, and man, like, it's always sad when flame goes out too quick, man.
Yeah. That's right. Sure. Yeah, man. My condolences. I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Hey, both those guys, Danny and Rob, loved extract, loved bubble. Rob loved bubble. I was making it with both of those guys in literally 2002, and
nice.
We got super high, on more than one occasion on a handmade bubble that we just made with literally pantyhose and silk screen. And
man, you're taking it back, man. Taking it back.
Right. But it can, you don't have to have all the equipment. You can do it at home. You can do simple extractions at home, and people should try. If you're a home grower, definitely try to do that.
100%. Yeah. 100%.
Go to the store, go to the dispensary, buy some, see what theirs is like, and then try to mimic it. Right.
Yeah. 100%. There's a lot of information out there on the web these days. You can follow an array of guys on Instagram too, that are really interested, it seems like, in letting people know how to do this. I gathered a lot of information just from perusing Instagram, man, following people that I look up to that I know we're doing big things out here in the industry. And, if you're familiar with Colorado's rosin scene, you know who I'm talking about. But you can find some information out there. Don't be scared of it, man. You can get the equipment relatively easy, and it's relatively easy to use. And, learning curve with anything. I mean, don't expect, just get it and then all of a sudden you got what you, but it takes a little bit, but curiosity, man, you gotta want to do it. You got to be about it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
do it,
no doubt. Yeah,
if you like extractions and you like smoking extractions and you have access to flower and you have opportunity to do it, you're in a state that allows you to do it, I say do it.
Absolutely. I believe that state can be a state of well-being.
100%.
So, get out there, grow some weed, man, make some extract of it, roll some joints with it, pass it along to your friends and your family, and then grow some more. Do it again.
Keep it going, man.
Keep it going.
Had a good time.
Chris, it's been great chatting with you, man.
Likewise, man. I really appreciate you having me. It's, really an honor being on this show and, sharing the information that I possess here, which, take it for what you want. But yeah, man.
What I love about you, man, is next year you're going to be on a totally different plane with this. We should do another one next year and see where you're coming out with it. You just learned so much. You're like a sponge, man.
I'll come out there. I'll come see you in OKC next year. We'll do it out there.
Oh yeah. Hey, absolutely. We'll man, we'll make some. We meant to make some this year, but it didn't work out.
That's okay. We'll make some. Yeah, we'll get it going, man. No worries. We'll come, do some fishing as well.
Well, I don't know, man. You tear it up a little bit too much.
Man.
I need my fish in my pond. You're catching them all.
Come on, man.
I look forward to it, Chris, man. I miss you guys.
Likewise, man.
It was good chatting with you this morning. Thanks again. This is Chris with Souly Solventless. How can people look you up, Chris?
You can find us on Instagram. We're Souly.Solventless, and that's SOULY. Solventless. Pretty easy to find. Yeah, man. Souly.Solventless. Check us out. We got some, good things happening here very soon. And be on the lookout for us.
Thanks again, Chris, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Have a good one, Chip.
Oh, man. I tell you, after that episode, I want to sit back and vape up some good solventless extract, or maybe even go back and get myself some bubble hash and sprinkle some on a nice large joint. I think I might have ruined myself that extract years ago by making Trainwreck Keef joints and Trainwreck bubble hash joints. I probably lost a couple of years smoking those. And I hope you guys learned a lot about extracts and solventless extracts today. They're not dangerous. They're safe. It's just water. Not that like hydrocarbon products are dangerous either, but many people have an aversion to them. But hey, you shouldn't. If you're interested in, solventless extracts or bubble hash, man, you should try some. If you can make it at home, you can buy a lot of the materials online. You can always check us out at cultivatecolorado.com, cultivateokc.com. Hey, if you haven't already subscribed to our podcast, please do. That's the Real Dirt Podcast with Chip Baker. And check out our YouTube channel, man. We're going to put all of our episodes on there from the past. We're going to have all our new episodes on there. So you'll be able to listen to all 70, 80, 90 episodes on YouTube at your will. So thanks a lot for joining us again today. Yeah, man, the next time you're out there in the world, the next time you're at a dispensary, ask the dispensary about solventless extracts. Ask them their opinion. Ask them to show you some. This has been Chip with The Real Dirt. Thanks again.